Welcome to another VRA video. Veracity. We're looking at Veracity, the crypto that's about to fall down to levels not seen since the 6th of March. So, not a big deal. It looks big, it looks nasty, but I really just think that it's a zigzag pattern. And of course, I could be wrong, and it could be the start of a larger decline, but I really don't think that's the case at this point. There's no evidence to suggest it. So I'm just going to talk about the tweaks I've made since the last video to the count. And basically, this count implies that the B wave ended at the highs. So that not being an E wave, sorry, a C wave, but rather an E wave. Um, but the reason for this, I had to carefully consider this. And the reason for it is this particular wave right here. Because it never made a low on this chart, I couldn't really consider it before. But because there was a new low made in this chart on the Bybit exchange, I believe that counts as a D wave. The D wave completed wherever it completed down here, and I think that was an E wave. And then we went straight into wave C. Okay, now wave C is the wave that I expect to take us the same distance, at least the same distance as the A wave. So that can be measured from up here. What I traded that day, I believe, was basically a portion of wave one, but it went lower and it started to correct in this expanded method, like way, right? So I took my time to just let the waves unfold and sort of see if there is something that came out of it. And going through the waves, I created this count A, B, C, D, E, right? And I did post a video out earlier saying that this was an E wave bounce that could have topped. And although I believe that's true, the E wave just means that it's not the E wave that I thought it would have been. It's basically the end of wave two, right? So basically, these two were E waves. This move up here, this move here, both E waves. I took a few things into consideration in order to make this sort of call, this judgment. And part of it was this corrective portion that occurred down here. It went all choppy, and I could tell that there was something wrong about the previous idea. So the only thing that I didn't take into consideration is the Bybit, chart where it went lower, and that makes this whole thing make a hell of a lot more sense. Now, in saying that, I believe that this is because if wave B would have ended here, right, this move would have had to go so much lower that it would basically touch the support area, right? And on the Bybit chart, it's a bit higher, but still, I don't think it's going to go that low. So for me, I thought if it started from up here, what did I miss, right? And obviously, I just mentioned that this chart doesn't have that low, which the Bybit chart does. So for me, it's a case of a weaker 5 wave move compared to the first move. So it's weaker because look at wave two, it's already expanded, drawn out. Um, I don't think it'll bounce any higher. I did think that for a moment, but then I looked at the internals in here, which I'll zoom in and show you at the moment. So I did think there was a potential for a bounce here. Now, don't get me wrong, that could happen. We might go a little bit higher. Um, and that's not a big deal, really. Sort of it is, sort of it isn't. And all it means is that if wave E goes higher, then this actually it doesn't mean much at all. It just means that it's going to give wave three more room to move lower when it finally does start. Um, but in saying that, if this is just wave one, two, then wave three would literally go through the roof at this point. So in terms of the pattern itself, if it is what I say it is, then wave E probably shouldn't extend any higher from here. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, we've hit on the 5 minute chart, we've hit the 1000 resistance, the 1000 period moving average, which I think is important in this case. So I believe that's another reason why wave E ended where it did. And in terms of the wave E count, it looks like a zigzag, except there are some internals that suggest a small 1, 2, a 3, A, B, C, D, E, and then a 5. And once we came back and broke the start of wave 5, I thought, okay, there's a good chance that this is going lower. And right now it's come back to retest the break of that level. So you could see quite clearly that it's there. Will it go above it? I don't know. But it's important to note the moving average on the 5 minute chart. Um, Even on the 1 minute chart, it's come back and broke down below the 1000 period with the 200. If you go to the 15-minute chart, it's in a downtrend. So these moving averages, I think they're quite important if they, somehow fit the waves, and they do. It broke above it on the 15-minute chart, the 200 period, and then it came back and sort of it's starting to fall below it again. And being underneath that 1000 period, technically it's still in a downtrend. So resistance, it might have hit it, sort of bouncing back on it. Will it go below? I think we're about to find out soon. So therefore, I suppose the target is about. Actually, I should probably no, that's not the target. Sorry, that's the top of this wave back here. The target at a minimum should be around 0.00785. But it might come back and touch that support level, which is the top of wave D back here, and then we had the E. So this is why this is support, is because it's a wave E, and then we had those two zigzags, wave 1, 2, 3. So this is a crazy wave 4, but it's still within the realm of a week 5 wave move, even though it's so ridiculous, right? Uh, I can't say that it's bearish. I can say that it's corrective. It's bearish in the short term, but it's going to go higher. So at this point, it's just a wait and see approach. You can wait for it to go down before you take any kind of action. But I just find that if this pattern is correct and we are going to kind of move lower in this move, then we have the line in the sand. The line in the sand suggests that yes, if we break that level, okay, potential bearishness will continue. If it doesn't break that level, then probably going to make that wave 5 up eventually. Okay, so look, I understand it is completely weird, and I just want you to know that I do believe that it's completely weird and unusual to see a wave like this, but the signs are there, and it's pointing to that move lower. Okay, so that's the way I see it. A break of this low will definitely confirm it, which is the start of wave E down here. It'll definitely confirm it, but we're not there yet, so I can't say to you in this video, yes, it's confirmed. But these things can move pretty quick, and if this is a wave 3, it's not going to dilly-dally too much around this area. Okay, so as for the correction that we're looking at down here, my final verdict on this, I thought about it quite a few times. It's A, B, C, D, E. So this here is a line in the sand. That may or may not be correct, but there's nothing really now to indicate that's not the case, even if we have this bounce, because it could just basically contain corrective portions of, like an A, B, C, D unfolding, E, and down. So I thought initially there was a chance that maybe this could have been an A, B, C, D, E, and we would bounce higher, but we'd have to break that level there for that to be the case. Actually, I would say if that was going to be an E wave, we'd have to break that level up there. right, up here. If we break that level up here, okay, potentially we move higher, right? Because these waves are very choppy and it's very small degree. But if we move lower and break that low, well, obviously it's going to go lower. So doing my best here with the analysis. Hopefully this helps, and I'll catch you on the next one.